Hey, everybody. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber and you happen to find me from scrolling around, or maybe a friend recommended that you check out my YouTube channel, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. So, we now know that Trump, of course, is a liar, a warmonger, a whole lot of other things. I put something on social media today that got kind of a reaction. I said, Trump wants everyone to fear him. He thinks fear equals respect. We do fear him. The world does, but not out of respect or because he's smart and tough. The world, including America, fear him because he's insane, an insane, violent, murderous madman. That is the truth. Trump thinks fear equals respect. It does not in this case. People know that he's crazy. He's a madman. We know he's physically unwell. It appears he wears a urinary catheter thingy and strapped down to his leg. We know he's worn diapers for quite a long time, so maybe those Depends are not doing the job. So physically, we know he's in very bad shape, and we've seen these swollen bruises on his hands, these hematomas, or look like that's where an IV goes in. We've seen that repeatedly. So we know physically he's a hot mess, but mentally and emotionally, he's in very bad shape and always has been, to the point where now it endangers not just those around him, but the world, the planet, the entire country. I don't think that we can overstate the danger we are in right now because of what Trump did in Iran. And even if some agree that, well, you needed to take out their nuclear capabilities, this wasn't the way, this wasn't the time. What he's done is unconstitutional and illegal. He is now an international war criminal, the president of the United States. So he's unleashed a lot on us. But I want to talk about that in a minute. But again, his mental state. I want to read to you a tweet by my friend, Dr. Jeffrey Grammer. Jeffrey Grammer is a psychiatrist and a decorated war veteran. He received all kinds of medals as a colonel in the Army. He would take his team out to the battlefield and treat soldiers who were experiencing trauma and everything else. And so, he kind of gets it. And he says Donald Trump works on 1 week news cycles. Every week there's a new major story, so we forget last week's story. This is designed to keep us off balance, never having time to acclimate. Given the events of last week, I shudder to think about what next week will bring. And that is absolutely true. Trump is reactive. Now, he has all these tactics in his arsenal, always, of course, but he makes the decisions based on a knee-jerk reaction on his own emotions, his own erratic, madman emotions. And if we talked about before, Richard Branson said that one time he had lunch with Trump, Richard Branson of Virgin Airlines, and Trump, all he cared about, all he talked about was he wanted to spend the rest of his life and his fortune getting revenge on his enemies. So you get that mentality right there. So I think that when his military dictator parade ended up being a flop to the point where it humiliated him, that's why he launched this attack. I think he did the attack in California, again, always ready to pull the trigger on this stuff when it suits him. Well, it suits him when he gets enraged. And what had happened right before that? Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin were basically in the process of firing him from the job they installed him in. Why? Because the only thing Vladimir Putin cares about is Ukraine, and Trump screwed up because Ukrainian President Zelensky did a very successful, genius drone attack on Putin's his attack planes, the fleet, and that he used to attack and kill Ukrainians. And U.S. intelligence didn't know, or if they did know, they didn't tell Trump. Trump was too busy becoming an oligarch and cheating and lying with his crypto and playing golf. That was the deal. If they installed him in office and he would give them what they want, then his deal was, he just gets to stay out of prison and become an oligarch and golf. Well, he was asleep on the job and he didn't do his job. The only reason he's president is because Putin installed him because of Ukraine. And again, as I've said, they needed Elon's help in 2024. So Elon needed to get something out of it as well. And we know what he got out of it. So Trump's attack in California, I think, was in response to that. And he had to show that he was tough and evil and mean. Remember, this is his whole thing. He wants to be that guy. He wants to be Hitler. He wants to be a Putin. That's his whole thing. That's his jam. That's his idea of tough. So he's a murderous dictator, madman, warmonger. He does not care that MAGA has turned against him on the war because they don't want any wars. He's not concerned about them. He doesn't care about them. Okay? So he's doing these things, excuse me, in response. These are emotional reactions, but now he is somebody who has control of all of us and of our nukes and of law enforcement. I mean, this and these ICE agents. So now we also have people fighting back the ICE agents, which I think is great because we don't know who they are. They could be anybody. You can order a mask or anything off online and go get it. So without showing badges and identification, more and more people are fighting back. That is good. That is a big, 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 big deal, as we've talked about. You do not just put on a mask, hop out of an unmarked car with no badge, no identification, grab people off the street, and then have the attorney general that incredibly, the attorney general and the White House spokesbimbo say anybody who fights this will be arrested, blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. If you don't identify yourself and show your identification as law enforcement, no. That's when you use mace, or if you are grabbed and you happen to be legally armed, you use it. I mean, that is our right as Americans. Notice they're not going into these stand your ground states. Notice they aren't going after the real gang members, the ones they said they were going to, because they're afraid of them. These so-called ICE agents, newly deputized ones, we don't know who or what they really are. They're going after the low-hanging fruit and innocent people who are following the law, people who are going in for their hearings, their immigration hearings, getting people at work, taking kids, getting people now at churches. Now, they're not safe anywhere. Okay, so now we're in a situation where one of Trump's ways at this very insecure, mentally ill, evil man is now, since he bombed 3 nuke sites, I guess, in Iran, we now, first of all, we heard from Iranian state TV that he did not get them, that they got their enriched uranium and their other materials and their personnel out of those 3 sites some time ago. And apparently some satellite or drone footage shows these trucks moving out. So then you have MAGA. When I put this on social media, MAGA says, oh yeah, like they're really going to admit that they were hit. Like Iranian state TV is really going to admit that they were hit. Well, here's the thing. I saw today that Israeli officials are saying that Trump's strikes, these bombing these 3 sites, failed. That the Iranians, in fact, did remove everything and everybody from those sites some time ago. They've been at this for decades, Iran has. You think that they're just going to let this stuff sit there knowing that, that they were probably going to get struck by somebody at some point in time? So Trump was outsmarted because which isn't hard to do. He did not think this through. This, again, was his emotional reaction. He is a madman and a narcissist. He doesn't care who dies. He doesn't care. This is all about him feeling like some big tough guy. Okay? And he failed in this mission. What does that mean? Iran now has said that they are going after the United States. They said, you started this, Trump. We will finish it. And what they said, and this is what's chilling, not only will American servicemen and women be targeted, but American civilians. Since they don't have the Navy or really the capability to come here to fly over into our airspace and drop bombs, what they will do is terror attacks. So Trump has now opened the door to, facilitated, and invited war on our shores. So there will be terror attacks, dirty bombs, terror attacks like 9/11. There's sleeper cells that will be activated. We are all in grave, grave danger, a danger that I don't think this country has ever been in before. This is what Donald Trump has done. Is it worth it having these conversations with MAGA, your MAGA friends? Maybe once if you're still in touch with them. but this is what they support. Do your part. And if you can't pull these people away from him for the midterms, then pull yourself away from them. Do not reward them with access to you if this is the path they now choose. This is not 2016 or 2020. We are in a whole different era now. So we are now in grave danger of these attacks. Our food supply can be attacked. There is a host of things that Iran can now do to us because of Trump. In addition to the fact that now they are encouraged to really accelerate their production and getting nukes, which they will use on us. This is why you need a responsible press to keep a check on people like this so that a guy like Trump doesn't get in office. This is why we kept pressuring Merrick Garland to do something. And you have these stupid cheerleaders on Twitter who are saying, oh, he's just dotting his I's and crossing the T's. This is why everything, those of us who know about Donald Trump and have never had any delusions or illusions about him have been out there just pounding away at this. Now, granted, some people did it because it was a way for them to get rich. The generational wealth guys, oh, look at my clever video I'm putting on Twitter, pretending I'll put it on TV. So send me money and I'll really just pocket the money to make my generational wealth. Yeah. But those of us who are serious about this, we knew. And we've been trying to tell you. And it's not because we enjoy the fight. I didn't choose this fight. It chose me. We didn't choose this fight, but this is the fight we're in. So when you start doing the personal attacks as if we have some other reason to be doing this, we're trying to save our country. Our media let us down. There's no question about it. Merrick Garland let us down. Democrats in Congress let us down, I think. They didn't have the doodads to hold Trump to account. They didn't want to. It was too hard. So they thought, oh, he's learned his lesson. Yeah, right. So now our lives are in grave danger. And it's not just places like Washington, D.C. and New York. I was talking to someone in the past 24 hours who said they will not go into any big concert or sports events. Wherever there's a large gathering of people, that would be a target. This is where we are, and it's going to get worse. And as Dr. Jeffrey Grammer said, we shudder to think what's going to happen next week. But right now, we all have targets on our back. We all have targets on our back. And Donald Trump did this. He is the reason why. He is a murderous, madman, dictator, narcissist. I have not seen any real people on Twitter or other social media defend what he's done. You get some bots and trolls, people that don't really show their identity. That gives me hope that some of the hardcore MAGA can start having a, oh no moment, like what have we done? They won't want to admit it. They won't want to admit it. But you know what? Those who maybe want to save their souls and understand that this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Frankly, folks, not that I think any MAGA are watching, but maybe those of you who have MAGA friends, maybe let them know that this is going to get worse before it gets better. And it may not get better. And it will only get better if and when Trump is gone. That's the only shot we have at this. So how far down the rabbit hole do they really want to go with Trump? And frankly, as we've said before, they only care when it starts affecting them and their lives. And it is my hope that those who still, unless you have, some people I guess have to be around MAGA, but if you don't have to be, maybe the consequence they pay, like I said, when it starts affecting them, maybe their consequences are people who've been in their life, who they've been close to for a long time, finally say, I can't anymore. This is now a bridge too far, that you still support this. And they lose their reputations and influence in their communities, their respect, and friendships, and maybe even family members back away. because we have not been in this territory before. And you can't pretend that things that, oh, well, this is how it's always been and this is just politics. So until they start paying a consequence themselves, I guess, maybe when a dirty bomb goes off, right? Or a sports arena is attacked. And they may say, but we had to get rid of those sites. We had to bomb those sites. It's not his fault that he didn't know that they didn't have their nukes there. It is his fault. But also remember, Barack Obama got them into a treaty, got Iran into a treaty where they were not going to be developing nukes. It was Donald Trump that pulled us out of that treaty. We would not be in this position today if he had not done that. There would have been no reason to make an excuse to bomb what he thought were 3 sites where they were building their nuclear capabilities. Okay? This is 100% on Donald Trump. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If your MAGA friends and family are confused about it, you can set them straight. And I hope you will.